You at the hotel, Mary?
Yo, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm gonna be here for at least a couple more days, and then from that particular point, I'm gonna be moving on, because things are really moving quickly, and I just feel that it's just necessary for us to stay focused on what needs to be done. The total count of union members, I think, is 46,000. So over 46,000 union members are powerless to stop the actions of the president. And that president is Mr. Tony Atano. It has become a dictatorship, not a democracy. It's a dictatorship, not a democracy. It has become very, very clear, so clear that we have our brother Edward Ireland, who primarily is 100% correct. He's 100% correct in that which he is calling for the change of the union bylaws. Okay, he is calling for the change of the union bylaws. And I believe that this can occur. The only reason why this can occur is because this type of action has happened before. And at the end of the day, we have to look at what has happened to see exactly that it can happen again. Now, the situation was very clear. Dr. Martin Luther King was in the South. Dr. Martin Luther King was in the South. Then we had Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad in the North. And then we had the Young Lords also in the North. And then we had the Black Panthers who were in the West Coast. And then we have others that were in the East Coast. So at the end of the day, they came together because they wanted justice. And anywhere the system of injustice went, they were met with justice. So I believe that we can come together, and wherever management goes, they're going to be met with people who want justice and will speak truth to power. Staley, let me ask you this one question. Why is it that members must have a voice when it comes to union business? They must have a voice. Why is that, sir?
Because they're paying their money. They have to know what's being done with their money. You know, that's one of the biggest issues, because during the early years in unions, there wasn't much transparency. Over the years, there were manipulation of funds and stuff of that nature, and they had to stop that. They had to put more trust in unions, and so they created the laws that created laws that required unions to give members all the information they need as far as being transparent at what the union is doing with their money.
Interesting, because a lot of times, a lot of union members are just basically, let the president have all the power, and whatever he says we'll do. Now, that's a dictatorship, and Charlie Munoz, that's wrong to have a dictatorship. Am I correct?
Of course you're correct. I mean, let me just tell you, people are saying, why are you saying that it's a dictatorship? Well, this union supposedly endorses Governor Cuomo all the time. But yet I never had a vote in who we should endorse. Have you?
I haven't had one.
Right. None of us had. So they're making a decision for us. I mean, a lot of us are disappointed with the way Cuomo has turned his backs on unions, especially this union. So why can't we, when the union says we endorse Governor Cuomo? No, we don't. The president does. Okay? So cut the bullshit, I mean, you have 40,000 people, over 40,000 people in this union, and we don't have a say on who we endorse. So why does this man Utano picking up after what Samuel, because Utano is a carbon copy of John Samuelson. And Samuelson started this crap with, I endorse this guy, I endorse this guy. Another thing is they endorse a lot of people who voted for Tier 6. Okay, why would you endorse people who hurt your members? Why would you? Doesn't make sense at all.
Interesting, because why would you endorse, but yet they still do it, but the members are not saying anything? Anthony Staley, let me ask you this one question. Why are some members so afraid to speak up for themselves? Why are they just so afraid? Talk to me, sir.
Well, it's not really being afraid. It's more so like they're tired they're frustrated. They've been through so much with this union, so some people just give up. They just think there's nothing in the foreseeable future that's going to help them make the union do the job that they're supposed to do for them.
Charlie Munoz, why are people afraid to speak out? I mean, in our stations department, they have made moves that should not have been made if the membership was thoroughly spoken up. Why are they afraid, sir?
Well, I mean, not everybody's afraid, but like Staley said, yeah, they this is enchanted with the way the union has represented us. I mean, also the union has threatened, and this came out a couple of months ago, where the union, Staley, and you can explain it better. They threatened Mobile Wash. Um, can you explain what happened there?
Yeah, they had threatened the cleaners and Mobile Wash because they wanted to have a new pick. I'm trying to remember what the issue was about the pick that they wanted. Well, yeah, they were in a pick so long, and I think they said they didn't want to go into that pick that they had picked. It's been a long time. They had waited a long time for the pick to change. It never did. So then they said, well, we prefer having a new pick, right? And I thought that was right because people's situations at their homes and everything had changed, and people with children, they got commitments that had changed, especially was coming into the beginning of the school year. And these people were threatened by their own union to that they would be made extra if they filed the complaint or filed the protest against the pick.
Well, let
And
me ask you a question. They were threatened, but nobody in Mobile Wash who was a shop steward stood up for them?
Obviously not. Obviously not. But there's a difference in being a shop steward and then being a shop steward. You could be a shop steward just by name. You just could have just a title and don't have the desire or the knowledge to know how to fight. So I mean, yeah, you could be, you could walk around with the title of shop steward, but do you know how to fight and represent the people that ask you to represent them? That's very important.
Charlie Munoz, what you said?
Yeah, I mean, this union's leadership they become bullies. And if it's not a dictatorship, why was the only Tony Utano and Linwood Richard signed the agreement to let private contractors do cleaners jobs? Why was it hidden? Because of dictatorship. We had no voice in that. How could we not have a voice when our jobs, those were our jobs? So how can we not have a voice in that? They did it on the sneak. So this tells you that they don't want us in the loop. They want to do things their way. And the only way that they'll tell us what they did is they're confronted with,
yes.
I mean, they're not going to tell us. We have to find out for ourselves. We have to do investigating. And when we do come out with it, it's already too late when we find out because they already entered into these agreements. So, I mean, it's not transparent. This union is not transparent at all.
Now, Staley, you opened the door, and I want to go through this door, and I want you to break it on down. People keep telling us that we are the union. The members are the union. But why are some, and I'm using the word some because I want to be very careful how I phrase this. Why are some shop stewards not effective? Now, members need help and they get harmed. What is wrong with today's shop steward in our local? And I want to deal primarily with our department, the stations department, because that's who we're talking to. So what is wrong with the shop stewards in our department, sir?
They lack the full knowledge of the title, number one. They don't want to do the footwork, or it's not really footwork. I'm just using that as terminology, but they don't want to do the work as far as looking through books, educating themselves on what the title and first thing what the title means and the work of the title. And then there's a part that's unwritten, and that's having the heart and the ability to stand on what you know you believe and that you understand that this is the best for your members that you're representing.
And I also think that there's a lack of a fighting spirit, lack of courage. There's also a lack of shop stewards because we haven't had a shop steward class in at least 4 years. So, you know, there's a lot of people who out there who want to fight and who want to speak for us, but there's no classes. So they can't represent us because they're not shop stewards. So they don't have the certificate that says that they're shop stewards. So I mean, the station department needs more shop stewards because we're 5,000 strong, and you just can't have, you know, 3 or 4 shop stewards representing 5,000 people.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right. Yes.
on top of that, one of the shop stewards, okay, and I won't mention the name, was a bus driver, and this person doesn't know anything about CTA work. Okay, and this person is always going online. It hasn't been online in a couple of weeks, but saying this and that, you have to do this. You have to follow G2 to get snow pay. You have to follow G2 to get a day off or something like that. So I mean,
this person is now the shop steward, sir.
This person is a shop steward, but this person was a bus driver for I think 20 years and has only been in the station department for only a few years. Was never CTA. Doesn't know anything about the CTA work, what we do. So I would think that they will have a person who has been a CTA representing CTAs. Like for instance, I'll mention one. Todd Lerner knows his stuff.
Yes.
Okay. He's a CTA and he knows his stuff, but he's not available all the time.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that it should be broken down where if the CTA is in trouble, a CTA shop steward should be representing that person or giving advice, not a person who's a station agent giving advice to CTAs and vice versa.
I agree. We're 5,000 in our department, and we have less than 20 shop stewards. Now, Stanley mentioned something before, and I want to go back to that. You said that there are those who are shop stewards by name only, which means that they just go around carrying the card, but they don't actually know what's going on. Now, what should a member do if they get one of those card carrying shop stewards and they get screwed over? What are their options? Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what should we do? What should they do? You know, there's a shop steward that basically said, I'm here to help you. And at the end of the day, you know, that member gets screwed because this shop steward is not knowledgeable. What should that member do the next step? Because they got screwed over now. What should they do next?
Well, they have to look around, find people that ask questions and about your shop steward. Be mindful that it's very important how they put forward their fight on your behalf. Find out as much about his reputation as you can, you know, and find out what kind of work or what work he's been involved in, what he's doing. This way, you'll have an idea of the competence, number one, of the individual, and two, some of his knowledge as far as handling your particular problem.
Let me point out that the people currently representing the members at hearings are the same people who never showed up to meetings, who should never be in office because you're required to attend X amount of meetings in order to run for office. Now, Richard and Kelly, they threw together this team of people who I know one, for instance, who never paid her dues until she joined the team, which is a violation. She has to wait. A person has to wait a whole year when they're in good standing when they can run for any type of office. All right, she was able to circumvent that. with trickery. I mean, by Witchett, because Witchett is the master of tricks. Okay. There's also another guy named Steptoe. Yeah, I'm naming names. Steptoe, who I think I only saw him at one time in the meeting. And let me just point out, I went to these meetings, to every meeting for 2 straight years. I only missed one meeting in 2 straight years, and I saw Steptoe one time at one of these meetings. I never saw Yolanda Liddell at none of these meetings. Okay, I never saw Damon Shelley. I think I saw him one time at a meeting. Yeah, so I'm pointing out these names because these people are the ones who are representing us. And how can they represent us when they couldn't take time out of their busy schedules to attend these meetings? Okay, so why would I want somebody representing me who didn't give a damn? They're gonna give a damn now? No.
Well, there is a clause, there is a particular clause that states that if you're going to actually miss a meeting, that you can contact I guess, the secretary, and you can get some type of a waiver.
I can assure you that these people didn't do that. Okay, I can assure. And if I'm proven wrong, well, show me the books. Prove me wrong, because I don't believe that. I want to see the logs. Okay, and if we go into those logs and we see that they're at the bottom of the signature list, then you know that they were falsified.
Okay, so the bottom line is that we have union reps that have not come on
Let me just
paper.
also, I forgot to mention one person. One, Dwayne Hammonds. He ran for vice chair, a division vice chair. He didn't even meet the criteria to run for that position. And Barbara Deinhardt actually knocked down his request. So I'm not making this up. Okay, these people just didn't show up to meetings, and yet they are there to represent us. I don't understand how that's possible.
Interesting. Well, it appears to be that in our stations department, in our quest for justice, in our quest for fairness, we have those who are opposing the process of justice. Why do you think that there are so many people who are opposing the new change that's coming? Anthony Staley.
Well, anytime it's going to, anytime you got change coming forward, you're going to have those that's going to fight against it. Some people feel comfortable where and where they are, but that should be the judgment of the entire membership of at a meeting or something where we are allowed to interact and speak on different issues and come to an understanding where we're removing an administration. We're turning into it like it's a personal fight or something. Whereas merely it's not a personal fight. It's just that the members want the people in place that's going to do the work. They're going to acknowledge their issues and address them, not make up stories and play like they're working for them, and they're more so working against them than for them.
I'll give you a simple answer. Because it disturbs the good old boys network. They have had a monopoly on it, and they don't want any outsiders in a circle. That's it. They're accustomed to doing nothing, which is their way, doing nothing. And when somebody wants to do something, they are labeled a troublemaker, a person who's a malcontent, or yes, or militant, or just a plain old asshole,
I've been called everything but a child of God, and the only reason why is because I believe that this union in the stations department I'm dealing with, we can do a whole lot better. Stanley, what you say?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. We can. We can. We can,
and we will. I'm going to make a bold statement. We can, and we will, and we have through these videos, we have made a difference. Okay, because and I hate to interrupt you, Staley, but
That's
I have
all
to
right.
point out, that we, in previous videos, we talked about G2s, we talked about FMLA, we talked about safety resolution forms. Has the union done that? No. Okay.
You see, their thing is, we don't have really the time to do that. Okay, we have a website that you can go to. We don't have time to do that. We're doing the work. We don't
Kenny,
have time.
You work 8 hours a day?
Yes, sir.
And you travel you're extra, so you travel.
I travel a lot, sir.
Yeah, okay. And me, I work near the Bronx, and I live in New Jersey. I travel 2 hours each way to get to work and to come home. How come I have time to make these videos and to inform the people that about the problems in this union? Because I care, because you care, because Staley cares. So we take time out of our busy lives. We all have families, but we're making the time. And I'm not saying that they don't, not everybody can have the time to answer all questions, but come on, a couple of hours a month or once a month, they just don't do it. When was the last? The only time I saw anything by these people was during contract negotiations when all of them made videos. There was at least 10 videos pushing for this lousy contract.
People made videos I never even seen.
Yeah, right. People I never saw before.
And
and I've been here 7 years. And there were people there I never saw. And I haven't seen them since then.
And the reason why they made those videos, because our videos were strong to the whole point of people voting no, and we laid out the plan of action, and they had no other choice but to do something to change the narrative, because the narrative, because we knew what was going to happen if this contract went through. We knew, and it is what it is. Question, I want to bring Staley in real quick. You've been down here over 20 plus odd years, so you have a historical memory. Sir, how did we get to a point in this union where one man, the president, has ultimate power and democracy is put to the side? How did we get here?
Well, and that's from years of being discouraged by the union. People were getting more and more discouraged by the union and all the sneaky and underhanded stuff they were doing, and people just felt that instead of fighting to have it removed, they just got more and more disappointed, and they went and not realizing that they have the power to change it all. They have it. All they have to do is just unite on one cause, and that's saying taking control of this union and getting competent people in there and people that's going to look out for our interests.
Let me point out one thing. Mm-hmm. This union, the membership, 77% are either Black, brown, or Hispanic. Okay, but when we went to the election hall, I could have sworn I saw a lot of white people there.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm not gonna say that is a racial divide in the leadership. And did I see any Uncle Toms there and any Uncle Jose's? You bet I did. Yep. So there's the guys there. A lot of them are butt kissers, and yeah, I'm saying it because I'm not afraid of telling the truth, and it's obvious because by the decisions that they made, when Tony Utano or whoever says something, they're over there in agreement, knowing that it's wrong. It's a wrong decision, like taking the money out of the boot, like allowing contractors to come in and do our jobs, like the lunch relief argument, which they never did, and now RTO is following my suggestions. Yet I was called a clown for suggesting things like going to the media, filing an injunction, etc. But I'm the clown. But yet they copy my suggestion. Okay.
Staley, I want to double back to you because I want to go back to the whole point of How do we get here, sir?
Years and years of people growing more and more discouraged, don't want to participate because they're not being heard. They're not being anything that's being said by the members is not being addressed by them. So you just grew discouraged over the year. That's the biggest problem in this union.
Now, Staley, I want to continue this process. Our brother Edward Ireland or Lee Ireland says that we need to change the bylaws. Okay, we need to put the power back into the hands of the members. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
His plan that we discussed is a good idea, and let me make a correction here with you, Kenny, when you says changing the bylaws. It's not an issue of changing the bylaws; it's enforcing the bylaws.
Thank you.
That's the issue. The bylaws are being violated, and they're not being enforced. But Lee's plan, what I've discussed with him, and when it comes to that, it's about what is what is the right of the members. It's also written in the Constitution.
Yes.
And it's being violated. It's not that they just came in and took it out of the. It's there, but they're going to do what they're doing until you make them hold them accountable. They know that for you to do that, you have to go outside the union. Probably will have to go to PERB or something like that, and then that's going to be a whole new issue there. Trying to get it put on the calendar and get it to be heard.
Let me point out, you mentioned, why is it a dictatorship?
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a perfect example, okay, where there's a violation of the bylaws. When Tony Utano promoted Linwood Richard, okay, right, there's a violation. There should have been a vote, because I'm sorry, Mr. Rivera died. I don't know when he died, but there should have been the length of time that it took to replace him and promote Richard to his position. There should have been a vote, and there wasn't.
Well,
Yeah.
let's be very, very clear.
When Utano was asked,
Yep,
why would he do that, he goes, oh, because that's the way we've been doing it. Well, that doesn't mean shit, because if I'm a thief, okay, and I steal something, and a cop catches me, and I go to court and I tell the judge says, why did you steal that? Because I've been doing that all my life, and it's okay because I've been doing it. No, it's not okay.
it's not.
Okay, yeah, and that's exactly what they did. They did whatever they wanted without letting the members be involved.
And let's
So
be
then
very
why have these rules and regulations if you're gonna violate them?
true. And let's be very, very, very clear. Okay. They had to scramble because what Richard did to the department was not good. They had to scramble so bad that they had to go back and bring in an individual who the members voted out to take over because the mess was just that bad. And instead of doing the proper thing by sending him back to his tools, they gave him a promotion. They promoted their problem. And now he's part of the top four. Almost like this was a plan for him to get to the top four. Okay? It's unconscionable. And the members did not say not a peep. Oh, Derek is back. Richard is promoted. And we just stood there saying, huh? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, when did this happen? Well, don't worry about it. We're in charge. We can do what we want. And that's a dictatorship. Go ahead, Charlie.
And the thing is that we touched on this before, but I have to say it again. This union, they like to bring back rejects, retreads, and recyclables, and they like to go full circle and bring back people like you just mentioned. That, let me just give a perfect example. If Joe Biden, for some reason, can't fulfill his duties as president, are they going to bring back Trump? Oh, that's exactly what happened. Derek got voted out, and Utano brought back Derek. Huh? So then what was the reason of having a vote if the members said, no, we don't want this guy, and you brought him back?
It was a vote of
It's
no
a slap in the
confidence.
face.
It was a vote of no confidence. That's how Witchard got in. Okay. It was a vote of no confidence. You know, our time is very, very short, slow now, but we have to speed this thing up. What I would like is the final word to the stations department. Okay, final word to the stations department on what we're facing now and how we're going to get through this thing. All right, Charlie Munoz, begin.
The stations department has to wake up because layoffs are imminent. It's going to happen in the next contract. If it's not going to happen, it's going to happen next contract. Don't be fooled by this no layoff clause that the CTAs receive because we were protected. Okay, I'm going to send you that, Kenny. I'm going to send you that that little piece where what was his name? The former president Willie James, in order to allow web workers, Giuliani wanted web workers to work for their checks. Well, Willie James said, okay, but we need X amount of cleaners and we'll allow them. And sure enough, that was the deal. And that deal is still in effect. And so we never had no layoff clause. We were never in danger. CTs were never in danger of being laid off because there was an agreement in place that there always has to be an X amount of CTAs. Okay. Station agents, they're the ones that needed the no layoff clause.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And the union is making believe like, no, everything's hunky-dory. No, it's not. Okay. Station agents need to wake up because once this contract is over, your jobs are in jeopardy.
Yes, because Omni's already here, HPI is already here. I mean, you know, the writing is written on the wall. It really is.
Yeah, and it's a shame. But one thing is, people go to your meetings. It's take an hour once a month. It's not a lot. You know, show up, show your face. You don't have to stay there the whole hour if you don't want to. Go for 5 minutes. Listen to the garbage that they tell you. Most of us can see when somebody's lying, or we can feel when somebody's lying. Well, then go to these meetings, and you'll see who's telling the truth and who's lying. Right? And I'm sure that everybody here has questions. So just go to your meetings. If you can't go to the meetings, then speak to somebody who went, who can inform you of what occurred or what was said, or go through us. We're always there.
Yep.
That's all I can say.
It's
well.
All right, Stanley. All right, Stanley, you speak. Go.
Okay, one of the big things that your union is supposed to do is educate the workforce as well. And you haven't seen anything educational coming from our union out members. That's one thing. Another thing is this issue of voter suppression. I say members in here don't realize that just as important for you to vote in your social elections for governor, president, and so forth. You're also very important for you to vote in your union elections because these are your representative. These are the people that speak out on your behalf. These are the people that you are paying their salary to do a job that basically none of them is doing.
And I'm sorry, but I should just say this, people. I'm not a supporter of Lee Islands. Okay, I'm not supporting anybody yet for presidency of this union, but Lee is 100% correct. Yep. Let's take back our union. Okay, sign that petition that's going around because it will benefit everybody in transit if we get Tony Utano to step aside and let the members make these decisions, not him alone.
Yep. Look, I'm sitting here and when this whole thing went down 3 years ago, I just could not believe how many people did not receive their ballots. The day of the count, I got text. What am I supposed to do? I just got my ballot. I said, well, you might as well just frame it because it's of no use. I want to be very, very clear. The upcoming election, and I'm going to say it, the upcoming election will be rigged. Understand what I just said. The upcoming election will be rigged. there will be, as Staley stated, there will be voter suppression. Explain to me how you can receive a calendar and not receive a ballot. This union leadership does not care about the bylaws or the union constitution. We can no longer afford the luxury of 3 more years of retreads and recyclables. Let me explain to you, these individuals are making decisions on our behalf. Now, let me be clear. Nobody knew that the pandemic was coming, but the MTA had a pandemic plan and the union did not. The MTA told the members, do not wear masks, and the union was silent. The MTA said, buy your own mask, and the union was silent. In the end, we, the members, will not remember the words of management, but we will remember the silence of our union. In the stations department, we did not even get a day off during this pandemic. The stations department, I want you to look at the record of Derek Echeverria and look at the record of Robert Kelly and look at the embarrassment of the leadership of Witchard, and you tell me if you want this type of nonsense to continue for another 3 years. I've said it once, I said it twice, and I'll say it again. A revolution is coming. A revolution is coming. A revolution is coming. Anyone else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just want to say that we're running in this election, and I think that I'm announcing it right now. Running for this election, we're gonna take over stations, okay? And you have 3 rebels here who aren't just gonna sit back and take the bullshit. We're gonna fight for everything. We're gonna make enemies, a lot of enemies, and we're making enemies right now with this union. But that's because we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight for you. We're gonna fight for us because we are part of the station department. And if you guys get laid off, we get laid off too. Okay? Richard and Kelly are not gonna get laid off. So, Utano, they can right now. Richard can retire with a full pension, and Tony Utano has 40 years, so he gets 2 pensions, 2 nice pensions. So if you guys want to vote for people like that who don't give a shit about you guys, well then do it, okay? But if you want people who care about our jobs, well, just look at your screen. That's all I have to say.
Anthony Staley, close us out, sir.
Well, I think with the upcoming elections, what we need to do is be a more informative to the members. Let them know, constantly let them know their rights, what to expect, what to look for, things that are important to them that need to be addressed, that makes them feel more safe and comfortable on the job. Addressing the issue of bad supervision, frivolous write-ups. All of these are important issues that need to be addressed. And the only way it can be addressed if you have good and competent union leadership.
Now, let me ask you a question. Cause I said I want you to close it out, but it's just so much of that. Let me ask you a question. What can we do about this whole nonsense of people not getting ballots?
Well, see, and that's the thing. When on the start of the election, they usually have a meeting with all the candidates and so forth. And at that meeting is where you can address your issues with. They keep lying to us and saying, well, you got to buy the mailing list for the candidates, which is a lie. We're all members of this union. Everything that has to do with this union belongs to all of us. So they've been using that over the years, talking about buying, but you got to find out what mailing list these people are using. There's no doubt there's two mailing lists, one that conveniently for what their agenda is, and the one that, that's allegedly supposed to have all of our address and all our information on. The first thing I would do as a step forward to start to make this change is that meeting right there would be the first thing I would put on paper, is that we want to see which mailing list that they're going to be using, because it's certainly not the one that's used by AAA, and that's given to AAA. And not only that, this union continuously use certain places that they assure that they're going to get their way with. In other words, there haven't been a change. There are many counting other counting places similar as AAA with various names that could be utilized, but it's not being done. And that's the one of the worst parts. And that should be addressed firsthand right off the top. A protest put in about that. If they're using AAA, we don't want to use them. We don't want to use the neutral monitor and so forth.
Charlie Munoz, last word, please.
Yeah, well, we also don't want ballots being delivered without somebody from the opposition watching it, because last time they brought the ballots in from New Jersey without letting us know. So, so anything can happen between New Jersey and New York.
That's
ballots
right.
get lost. Somehow they might wind up on the highway, on the side of the highway. So we want a neutral, well, no, not a neutral person, but we want people from any party, whether you're or independents, to have the right to always keep an eye on the transportation of these ballots.
And what we need is total transparency of the whole election process.
Well, I can just tell you point blank, once the process begins, business as usual will stop. The only reason why things are going the way that they are is because everyone is in the compromise mode. They compromise on this to get that. They compromise on that to get this. I believe that those years of compromise are over. A non-compromising group is coming, and we are here. And also, anyone in the stations department that has a team together, please do your homework, because you're dealing with the lives of 5,000 people plus, because it's getting a little bit more larger. So do your homework. Don't just do this just because you think that you can just get a salary. This is the business of membership. And in the business of membership, it's the members that matter. Final word from anybody?
Yeah, let me just say one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Anybody who wants to join us in this fight, come. We want anybody. Just come join us. Okay, there's strength in numbers, and the more people we have on our side, the more progress we'll get. Okay, and we'll be able to change things. And when there's more of us there, trust me, things will change. Things will change. That's a fact.
Stanley, last words?
Yes, pay attention to your candidates. Make sure that they know what they're talking about. Listen to their platform, see how honest they are, and more importantly than anything else, their integrity. Are they loyal to the members? That's very important.